Problem 4-28, find the value of x. So what we have here, we have a right triangle. We are missing one side length, and they're asking us to figure out what the length of that is based on the knowledge of the two other side lengths. This is a little throwback to middle school math. Everybody should have learned in middle school what we call the Pythagorean theorem. And a lot of you may just remember the actual formula and not even the name, but it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember, that is when we're giving a right triangle with side lengths of a and b and hypotenuse c. C, remember, is the length of the side opposite the right angle there. It says that if we square the length of one side and we add the squared length of another side, it should equal the hypotenuse squared. Now there's many different ways to explain it. I could go through and explain the whole thing to you here, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably still remember it there. So I'm going to go ahead here just for time's sake and start looking at how we actually solve problems A and B. So let's look at A here. If this was a right triangle, this side would be like side A, this would be like side B, and this would be our hypotenuse, or C there. So right now we have A, we don't know B, but we do know C. I'm going to take it and I'm going to plug in the values that I know directly into the formula here, and then we're going to solve for the missing value. So if A is equal to 15, we're going to end up with 15 squared plus, we don't know b here, we could say that's x in this case, that's what they're calling it, so let's just do that. Let's say plus x squared equals, in this case we have 39 for c, so 39 squared. Now 15 times 15 we know is going to be 225. Should have that one memorized. If you don't, use the calculator. No shame in that, that's fine. We have plus x squared, so 225 plus an x squared is going to equal 39 squared. So let's just go ahead here. I don't have that one memorized. I'm going to go ahead and type it in here. You either do 39 times 39 or 39 squared. And then we get 1,521. So I've got 1,521. Let's get x squared by itself. Let's just subtract our 225 from each side. And we're left with x squared equals, and we could do the subtraction here. Let's see, that's going to be, let's borrow. We've got 11 minus 5 is 6. Borrow here. So we've got 11 minus 2 is going to be 9. 4 minus 2 is 2. We get 1,296 is equal to x squared. Now in order to get x by itself, remember, we have to undo the fact that it's being squared. So it's like saying we're taking the square root of each side. Square root of an x squared. Well, think about it here. We should end up with, and you should have been practicing this or been talking about this already, should be the absolute value of x. And the square root of 1,296, if you don't know, just go ahead and you can do it on the calculator, it's fine. So the second square root, 1,296. You get 36 as the value, so you have the absolute value of 36. Now, what two numbers are 36 units away from 0? Well, you should end up with x can equal negative 36 or x equals positive 36. And the reason that works here, if we think about it, if you take a negative 36 and you squared it, you get 1,296. And if you took a positive 36 and you squared it, you get 1,296. Now, we also know, though, that we're talking about the length of sides here. There's no way we could ever end up with a negative value. It does not make sense in the context of the problem. There are no negative distances. So negative 36 is what we would consider to be an extraneous solution because it does not fit the situation here. So our final answer for this would be x equals 36. If you want to take it and check it, take it, plug it back in, make sure that it works. I'll allow you to do that there. You can pause the video, check it to make sure it works. Now let's look at the second one. I'll put this right over here, so if you need to look back at your other work, you can. Do this one in red. We have another right triangle. Again, this is like side A. This is like side B. This is like side C. So it's almost exact same setup as the problem that we just did. If we take it here, we've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to plug in the values that I know. I know the a is going to be 10, so I have 10 squared plus, I know the b, we're going to call it x, so we're going to have x squared equals, and c is 30, we're going to have a 30 squared here. Excuse me. 10 squared, 100, plus x squared should equal 30 squared. That should be 900. Subtract 100 from each side. And I have x squared should equal 800. Now I think we have to think about what numbers can we multiply times itself to get 800. Or if we want to take it and we want to undo it, just like on the last one, we could take the square root of each side. Square root of an x squared is going to be the absolute value of x. Remember, the square root of anything squared is always going to be the absolute value of it. Square root of 800. Well, what is the biggest perfect square that we know of that goes into 800? Well, I do know that the square root of 400 times 2 is the same thing as 800. So that's like saying the square root of 400 times the square root of 2. Square root of 400 is 20. So we should end up with 20 radical 2. And what two values are 20 radical 2 units from 0? Well, that would be that x equals negative 20 radical 2, and x equals, I should say not and, or x equals 20 radical 2. However, for this situation here, we cannot have that negative side length again, so we know that this one's not going to work. This is going to be an extraneous solution, and our only value of x that will work in this should be 20 radical 2. You can take it, plug it back in to check it. Let's actually do that here. Let's just kind of look at it on the calculator there. We already know here that 10 squared plus 20 radical 2 squared should equal 30 squared. 10 squared we know is 100. 30 squared we know is 900. So more or less what it comes down to is 20 radical 2 squared going to be 800. And if you want to check on the calculator, if that's faster for you, that's fine. Just go ahead here and let's put grouping symbol in there. Let's do 20 radical 2, so second on the x squared, so we put in that radical. Let's put a 2 in. Let's arrow out. Let's close it there, and then let's square that entire thing. So 20 radical 2 squared. If we get 800 there, then we know we are correct. Hit enter, and we do get 800. So 100 plus 800 does equal 900. We know that we are good to go there. So x equals 20 radical 2 for part B. For part A, we got that x equaled 36. This is problem 4-28. Hope that helped you out if you had questions. If you still have questions, make sure you seek help from somebody, whether it's your teacher, if you have math help somewhere. It's up to you. Thanks for watching.